Know your rights with ICE and Customs and Border Protection. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, is one of the federal government agencies responsible for deporting people. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, is the federal agency tasked with patrolling the U.S. border. A federal law says that, without a warrant, CBP can board vehicles and vessels and search for people without immigration documentation, within a reasonable distance from any external boundary of the United States. These external boundaries include international land borders, but also the entire U.S. coastline. The federal government defines a reasonable distance as 100 air miles from any external boundary of the United States. CBP enforces immigration laws at and between the ports of entry. ICE is responsible for interior enforcement and for detention and removal operations. The main difference between the two is where they enforce immigration and custom laws. Who is at risk of being arrested by ICE or the CBP? The law allows the federal government to deport certain immigrants, including anyone without lawful immigration status, people with status, for example, lawful permanent residents, refugees, and visa holders who have certain criminal convictions. The federal government directs ICE on who they should target for arrest. ICE officers will decide to prioritize the arrest of people who they claim pose a threat to national security, unlawfully entered the U.S. on or after November 1st, 2020, or pose a current threat to public safety. ICE will consider factors such as a person's recent criminal cases and arrest by the police, any charges involving firearms or weapons. Even if you believe you do not fall into the priorities, ICE could still decide to arrest you if you are vulnerable to deportation. If you are somebody with legal status and prior convictions, be aware you will be a target even if your conviction is from years ago. You didn't serve time in jail. Your case was minor or a misdemeanor. You've been an LPR for a long time and/or the other members of your family are U.S. citizens. Are ICE or CBP agents approaching anyone they think they can deport? ICE or CBP agents may identify the person they want to arrest ahead of time. Then they go to homes, courthouses, shelters, and even workplaces to look for that person. Increasingly, they are waiting on the street to make the arrest. If I know I'm at risk, what can I do? Make a plan with your loved one in case you are picked up by ICE. Make a plan for your children in case you are picked up by ICE. Avoid contact with immigration. Don't apply to change your immigration status or to renew your green card, and don't travel outside of the United States without talking to a lawyer first. Avoid contact with the criminal justice system. The police share your fingerprints with immigration. What should I do if ICE or CBP agents approach me on the street or in public? When ICE or CBP agents arrest someone in public or after stopping a car, it typically happens quickly. They may call your name out loud and ask you to confirm your name and then detain you. Before you say your name or anything else, ask, "Am I free to go?" If they say yes, say, "I don't want to answer your questions," or "I'd rather not speak with you right now," and walk away. If they say no, use your right to remain silent. Say, "I want to use my right not to answer questions," and then, "I want to speak to a lawyer." If ICE starts to search inside your pockets or belongings, say, "I do not consent to a search." Do not lie or show false documents. Do not flee or resist arrest. Don't answer questions about your immigration status or where you were born. They will use any information you provide against you. Do not hand over any foreign documents such as a passport, consular IDs, or expired visas. If you are in criminal court for a court date, ask to speak to your defender before they take you away. CBP boards buses and trains in the 100-mile border region, either at stations or while the bus is on its journey. More than one officer usually boards the bus, and they will ask passengers questions about their immigration status, ask passengers to show them immigration documents or both. These questions should be brief and related to verifying one's lawful presence in the United States. Although these situations are scary, and it may seem that the CBP agents are giving you an order when they ask you questions, you are not required to answer, and can simply say you do not wish to do so. As always, you do have the right to remain silent. If officers come to my home, how will I know they're from ICE? You won't always know. Beware. ICE agents often pretend to be police and say they want to talk to you about identity theft or an ongoing investigation. Can agents enter my home to arrest me? If ICE agents do not have a warrant signed by a judge, they cannot enter the home without permission from an adult. Opening the door when they knock does not give them permission to enter your home. So what do I do if officers are at my door? Find out if they are from ICE. Try to stay calm. Be polite. Don't lie. Say, I don't want to talk to you right now. Politely ask to see a warrant signed by a judge and ask them to slip it under the door. If they don't have one, decline to let them in. If they are looking for someone else, ask them to leave contact information. You don't have to tell them where to find the person, and you should not lie. What can I do if ICE is inside my home to make an arrest? Tell them if there are children or other vulnerable residents at home. Ask them to step outside unless they have a warrant signed by a judge. If they come inside without your permission, tell them, I do not consent to you being in my home. Please leave. If they start to search rooms or items in your home, tell them, I do not consent to your search. If ICE is arresting you, tell them if you have a medical issue or need to arrange for childcare. What are my rights if I'm being arrested by ICE or CBP? You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to speak to a lawyer. Do not lie. It can only hurt you in the future. You do not have to share any information about where you were born, what your immigration status is, or your criminal record. Ask to speak to a lawyer instead of answering questions. You do not have to give them your consular documents or passport unless they have a warrant from a judge. You do not have to sign anything. If ICE or CBP detains you, you have the right to hire your own attorney. If you do not have a lawyer, ask for a list of legal service providers. Do not sign anything without talking to a lawyer. You have the right to contact your consulate. If a loved one is detained by immigration agents, you can look for the place where they are detained here.